birthday, something like that. But, you know, I think like the Woodstock Festival, you wait for the 50th, you know. And so we called up one of the guys that had something to do with it. And he said, what the hell are you guys doing for 45th? And we went on. He said, well, listen, we were going to do the 50th, but y'all might be dead by then. So I remember the 40th. That was bad enough, you know. I remember because at that time, the 40th anniversary, all of the news had gone to this 24-hour cycle. You know, there was always something on, and they was trying to get a hold of everybody who had anything to do with the Woodstock thing. Not because they was interested so much, but because it filled some time, and you know, and so I was just I avoided it. Because I didn't have all that much to say. They all asked the same question anyway. It was, Arlo, what was it like, man, being a Woodstock dude, you know? And I'm sure they didn't actually talk like that, except to me, you know, so. And I just told them all the same thing anyhow. I said, hey, I just remember getting there. I mean, it's not like an interview worth, you know what I'm saying? So I avoided it, but I do remember a couple of things because early in the spring of 1969, I had bought a new car. It's one of these checkers that they use in some of the big cities for taxis and stuff. And I figured I could fit the whole band in one car. And sure enough, man, I got one of those things and had me and all my guitars, you know, a guy with a big double bass in those days, another guy with a full set of drums, you know, and all his stuff, and another guy with another guitar and all his stuff, their girlfriends, all of their stuff. We hadn't even opened the trunk yet. I miss that, man. I miss the big cars. That's what we used to call American cars, you know. But at any rate, I remember even my wife took the car one time down the highway, pulled off at the exit ramp, come to a stop, and a big semi-truck come right up behind her, smacked right into her. The truck died. She drove off thinking, geez, something happened. I miss that. I remember we went to Woodstock, something like that. And of course, the closer you got to it, the more traffic there was until it finally just come to a dead standstill in the middle of the road. People just got out and started walking, you know. So before we got caught up in that, they had diverted us to some motel where they said they were going to fly us in the helicopter. And I was so excited. I'd never been in something like that before. I was 19 or 20 years old, you know, as a kid. And I remember me and Richard Havens, some other friends, we got in this chopper, you know, and the thing took off, and the door stayed open. And no matter how high we went, there was people as far as the eye could see in every direction. And we were so impressed. In the chopper with us was 2 New York State troopers. On one side of the open door was a big John Wayne kind of guy. And on the other side of the door was a little Barney Fife kind of guy. And they was looking down the same as us, you know. And eventually the big one looked at the little one and said, there are a lot of hippies down there. The little one said, yeah. The big one said, I bet they're doing lots of illegal stuff. The little one said, yeah. Then the big one said, well, I'm not going down there, nothing, are you? The little one said, nope. And that's when I realized we was going to have a good time at that festival. I was not mistaken. I got there on the first day of that 3-day event, and I was supposed to play on the second day, so I figured I had the night off, you know. And I'm walking around backstage, talking to people like you would imagine, and eventually wandered out on this big field with the mud and the rain, total catastrophe and disaster of every kind. And I was doing what everybody else was doing, so at some point later that afternoon, I had a serious case of the munchies. I needed to get something to eat, something to drink, and there was nothing there. So I thought, I'll go backstage, they'll have something. I go backstage, there's nothing there either. All they had backstage was 147 cases of champagne they're saving for the end of the event. And by the end of the first evening, that was gone. I don't remember how many cases I was personally responsible for, but between that and the other stuff I was doing that day, it came as a surprise when somebody came up to me and said, Arlo, you got to play now, man. I'm coming tomorrow. I said, no, you're here now, man. You got to play now, man. I said, I can't play now, man. I can't walk now, man. He said, we don't care about that. Richie Hayden's been up playing for hours here with everybody else. You got to play now, man. And I was too young to realize I could have said no. So I grabbed my big 12-string guitar, walked out on this huge stage, and in the middle of the regular stage, they had a circular stage built right in. So while the guys in front was playing, you could set guys up behind them. And when they was done, just twist them around. And I'd be wasting time breaking down the first band, setting up the second one like that. It was a great idea. I mean, it didn't work, but it was a great idea. And in the middle of the circular stage, they had a big hole for all the cables and mic lines and wires and stuff. They didn't tell me about the hole. I wasn't looking for the hole. I'm looking at more people I knew I'd ever see again in my life at one time. And I was looking at them like you could back then. Each one individually. And that's when I remember falling through time and space. And then the most unbelievable thing happened. I moved through the molecular structure of the wood itself. And I rematerialized on the other side of the hole on stage, almost completely intact. That was my